Kara Shalom, welcome to our watercolor journey. Today we're doing a very quick vignette and we're going to have a look at the brushes that we used and the granulation of the paint. The materials used are listed in the description below. We are going to use core paints again and a set of new brushes. It's artboard, but it's camel hair. So we'll talk about that a bit. So we're starting with a flat brush and the mixed paint on a dry sheet. You just add the colors and then add a little bit of water to spread the paint a little bit more. So why do we tape the side of the paper if we are going to make a vignette? I mean, the paint is not going to the sides. Well, the one reason why we are using the taped paper is to prevent water from running over the sides and contaminating the rest of the pages on the block. And obviously, if you have the single sheet on your board, then it helps to hold the paper flat onto the board. So yeah, we're adding some paints here, and you can see that the core paints spread very nicely and they create natural grass stalks and things like that. And it spreads so well because of the binder that core uses. You don't have to add a lot of water here. You can add any of your colors and create your own background for this little vignette. Now we're going to tilt the board a little bit. So pick it up carefully and start tilting it from side to side. And if there's not enough flow in the paint, you can gently spray the bottom of the area that you have painted already so that the water can help the paint flow. And by tilting it now, you are going to create natural combinations of paint and also natural textures. Don't let it flow down too much because you do not want the bottom of the page to have an exact border. You are working with a vignette, which means that there's no borders to your painting. So now you can let it dry. And once it has dried, you can now use another brush to start adding your elements into the painting. Now we have used cobalt blue, Hansa yellow light, pearl orange, sepia and transparent red ochre here. Now that one is the transparent red ochre and it is a really interesting color, very much like burnt sienna but not. And then the sepia, if you add that, it gives you the darker colors, the more shady color. And of course the Hansa yellow light, it doesn't have a greenish undertone like many of the lighter yellows, so it gives you a nice clear yellow color. This brush is a camel hair brush and it's very soft and yet sturdy enough to use to make lines and to make your dots and dashes. So to make the background or the terrain area, you can lightly dab your paint in wherever you want. And as you can see now, once your background has dried, usually if you use a lot of water, the paint granulates a lot more than when you use less water. And in this case, the blue and the sepia combination made a beautifully granulating background for the more solid foreground that you are going to add. You can use the sides of the brush to make dry brush strokes. And then in this case, this is the Winsor & Newton. And just very lightly add your tree. There's nothing much to it. We started this time the other way around. Usually you start with the tree trunk and then go up to the leaves, but you can work the other way around. It's your choice at the end of the day. Because the painting is fairly small, your tree and everything will be very small as well. So you're going to work very lightly, just use the tip of the brush and add your colors. Notice also that you have soft lines and you have hard lines, soft edges and hard edges. The soft edges make your painting more distant. At the top you can see the softer edges, looks like it's fading into the background. On the right and on the left we have the harder edges that kind of boxes in your painting a little bit. And then the hard edges of the tree make it stand out nicely against the soft edges of the background. You can splatter a bit of paint to give you a little bit more texture in the terrain in the foreground. And also use the blue and the brown to help you with the shadow of your tree. A shadow is never just black. It usually has a little bit of a grayish color in it, depending on what the base is and what your day is like. If you had too much paint like we did there, then just dab it out with a paper towel. By adding lighter and darker colors, you give a lot of dimension and variation to your terrain. So don't just keep it to one strength. Add a little bit of water or use less water just to help you to give that variation in the density. Then you can use a cut up store card to start scratching out some grass in. If you use the corner of the store card, where the paint has dried a bit, it will obviously make a white line. If you want to make broader strokes, then you use the flat side of the card and just push the paint to the side that you want it. Where the paint is still very wet, it makes a darker line because the paint pulls into the scratches that you've made. Adding the blue there helps a little bit to harmonize the background with the foreground. Dry brushing always gives you a little bit of a texture to your terrain, and sometimes if you have too much paint on the brush, it will give you a solid color, but as soon as the paint has come off the brush a little bit and you use the belly of the brush, then you will get nice strokes that give you a little bit of lighter color and darker color all at the same time. This was a very easy, very quick painting, and I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and give us a comment. Vaya con Dios.